Today is November 11th. The Yankees rumors are buzzing. Verlander, center fielders, shortstops. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk Yankees.
Talking Yanks with old Jomboy, Jake. Recaps galore, weekly awards, stat lines, theme, and hot takes. Get your Yankees news from these two fine dudes. It's time for Talkin' Yanks. Talking Yanks with old Jomboy and Jake. Talking Yanks with old Jomboy and Jake.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Yanks, brought to you by DraftKings. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Jimmy. We got Jake in the JOMBOY Media jersey and producer BBD in the corner. I'm not returning. I'm still on my paternity leave. I was granted permission to do an episode of Talkin' Yanks because there's a lot of rumors going on, which, as everybody that's a long-time listener knows, is my absolute favorite part of the offseason. Strike that, reverse it. I lied. Nothing matters. Jake, how are you doing?
James, BBD, everyone live in the chat. James Douglas. Jim, you can be on Talking Yanks, paternity leave. All that baby does is sleep, from everything I've heard. And a couple cute faces.
Sleep machine.
Doing well over here. Thursday. Only facts for me today.
Yes. And
yeah, man, I'm excited you're back for the Talkin' Yanks faithful, so they get to hear from you. And yeah, I think I'm excited to hear what you have to say. We had Joe's on last episode. Joe's is the best. I love when people stumble into Joe's because he's electric always. He can't stop if he wanted to because he's the best. But yeah, man, I think I kept saying, like, free agency for me actually started when Heaney signed. Half is a joke, half is like, oh, a pitcher signed for $8.5 million.
That's the same as Joely. The Dodgers giving Heaney $8 million is the same as the Yankees giving Joely $2 million.
It's not far off.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's chump change for someone that neither team actually thinks they need. It's just bragging rights. That's the Dodgers' number one bragging rate. Yeah, this guy's not great, but we'll give him $8 million. Fuck you guys. Look how much money we have.
Next Robbie Ray.
It's kind of like walking past a bum and just giving him like $500 when your buddy gives him $1 and be like, I'll give that guy $500. I'm richer than you. And then the Yankees did it with Joely. It's the same thing. None of that matters.
I hit up Eno and I was like, no way. Like, people are calling this a Robbie Ray-esque signing. And Eno's like, I actually just wrote an article kind of saying that. And I was like, sorry, man. So yeah, the offseason's kind of going. I'm excited. I think with some of the Cashman quotes, you're our number one Cashman tea leave reader. I think the Yankees offseason, we've had our first kind of whoa audible. So I don't know if we want to jump right into it or what you're thinking.
I want to talk about the Verlander stuff. I was on John Boy and Jake Radio yesterday, and I came out, and my thoughts yesterday were like, I can't believe people are in on this or like want this after the Kluber deal. I spent all day just kind of tinkering, and I've come to a new place that I currently am at. I don't know if I'll be here the rest of the offseason, but it's changed my opinion on the offseason. So I think it's a good opening conversation for like all rumors and just like where my head's at.
Let's do it.
So did you see the rumor? And again, the Yankees are so tightly wound that like any rumor from a reporter doesn't come from the camp of the Yankees. Like almost unverified sources that post to Reddit or like hit us up in the DMs is, in my opinion, more trustworthy than if Nightingale or Heyman say something, because we know the Yankees just don't leak to reporters. If they have leaks, it's to like family and friends that hit up other strangers. I mean, every Yankees signing has been leaked from an unverified person before like the big Jays get it.
Right.
The last couple of years. So on Reddit, and I don't know if this is true, but this changed my mindset. There was someone on Reddit said that the Yankees are going to sign Verlander for 2 years, $40 million. And I liked that more than 1 year 10.
Okay. So that's you needed the
Because if they sign
safety.
Verlander for 2 years, 40 mil, there's not a limit for the next 2 years. They're just going to fucking spend.
Right.
Because they need a shortstop, center fielder, maybe first baseman. They don't need Verlander. So if that's the situation and they keep him within this window before they have to reset the tax again, and they just do balls out 2-year deals and spend a ton, that kind of changes my mind on the whole free agency period where I'm like, all right, do it. Blow the tax up. And then now you got Rosenthal saying they're going to do like 09 Yankee spending, like Sabathia, Teixeira, Burnett, Swisher. And I'm like, okay, just let me know the plan. If we only have 80 million to spend in the next 2 years, don't give 40 of it to Verlander like we did last year with Kluber. Don't give 50% of the allotment to an old injured player returning and we don't know what he's going to be on a 1-year deal, please. But and signs are kind of pointing this, if there's no limit for the next 2 years, they're going to get under again. That's the nature of it. And they signed Verlander, who's admittedly not a priority. They said, and Cashman's honest, he said priority shortstop and center field. And if they give Verlander that much money for a 2-year deal, well, to me, that means they're just going to spend like crazy the next two seasons. And I would love to get back into the mindset of not caring how much they spend and being like, yep, pick them up. Who cares?
Right. And so that's where it's kind of funny. Whether it's clicking Zoom links or some of the things that you and I stumble into. I did this almost the same 24-hour cycle. Like I tweeted out, and before we did the episode with Joe's, I tweeted out the night before a meme of a guy saying like, well, if Verlander signs with the Yankees, I'll believe he'll be great. If he signs with another team, I'll tell you he'll be shit. And then I got into the center field part of it, which we'll save for the second half of the episode. But, yeah, man, the Yankees, and you wonder what conversations happened this year. You know, we're coming off the COVID stuff, and how many times did we heard from people. This wasn't us reporting to the Talkin Yanks people that this is something we believed. We heard within the walls of baseball the Yankees were going to be hurt by the pandemic the most because the Steinbrenners, they don't own a financial institution or an oil rig. They own the New York Yankees. So their income flow changed probably the most of any owners. Now that they had fans in the building and people coming back, I wonder if Cashman and Hal had a handshake like, hey, I will stay under this year and we'll reset it again. And we'll see with the upcoming CBA if those rules still apply. But let's say they do, and it's every 3 years, which we know they're going to abide by. That Cashman might have got the handshake like, you can go out and be the Yankees these next 2 years, which Verlander would be a big sign of that. And I think the center field conversation ties into that too. So, sure, the Verlander conversation, we could spin around in circles on it all day. You can point to other kind of legendary pitchers of his ilk that later in their career still shoved into their 40s. We can do the Tommy John conversations about, you know, you're running that risk that is an absolute risk. But I think you're right. Like the sign of what it could mean for these next 2 years is pretty significant for the Yankees. And hey, the dude would still have to sign, and we'll see how the rest of free agency plays out. But yeah, I mean, there's Justin
and let me get it straight. I wouldn't 20 mil a year for 2 years is crazy. That's stupid. I wouldn't do that. But what I'm saying is I think if they do that, I can go back to not caring about money at all.
Right.
If we're operating under, there's a threshold that they're only going to spend, then I really, as a fan, care about how much they give each player because I want them to utilize the space the best. But if we go back to the old days where you're like, fuck, it's not my money, go get the best players. There's no limit for the next 2 years. I think Verlander at that price would mean that. That's still a crazy price. Like, but that it can't be their only move when he admittedly said they need a shortstop and center fielder. So I'm not saying like, yeah, just it would be nice to get back to the mindset that every fan base hates, but is also jealous of saying like, oh yeah, our owners just spend like crazy. Go get them. I don't care. It's not my money. Where a lot of teams are like, we have to function around a cap because we're only going to spend so much. So it's where it's like, but the mindset will change. I'm still brainwashed into luxury tax mindset
Right.
where I think they're not going to go crazy. But if that's the deal they're offering for Verlander, then I think there's going to be a lot of fun to come. And if not, I'll be fucking miserable about the deal.
And the other thing that you don't want to worry about is if your penis isn't working.
Is what? Say that again?
If your penis isn't working.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Never happened.
If
By the
you're,
way, as soon as it does, I'll call Roman.
imagine you're, stepping up to the dish and you're trying to hit a home run and you're not even making contact. That's a bad feeling. And if you feel that in the bedroom, hit up Roman. Roman, when you get in touch with them, they will get you in touch with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. And if you're qualified with promo code Yanks, you will get $15 off your first month of treatment. GetRoman.com/Yanks to speak to their healthcare professional, and then you'll get $15 off your first month of treatment. 52% of men from ages 40 to 70 will experience some form of ED, and you can take care of it. Like, let's get rid of a stigma. I know we crack some silly jokes about it, some limp wiener stuff, but there's a solution, and it's Roman. So go check them out. GetRoman.com/Yanks today. Be prescribed. You get $15 off your first month of ED treatment. Make sure you are ready. Have the confidence and control to be Roman.
Ready,
baby.
ready on, man.
Get ready on, man.
ROman.com. Ready on.
Jim, let's keep going with the kind of what could be this new 2-year window, kind of the way you're phrasing it with Verlander, and it's where my brain started really spinning, and I think it'll lead us into center field talk. Because we're pretty good at this math. We kind of looked at all the contracts last year, and we were like, Otto's got to go, huh? And we put that together. Here's where I'm kind of at. Catcher, I still can't give people a good answer. Honestly, at this point, I lean Gary's coming back just because I don't see an alternate option. Maybe
Same.
they do. It could be but it would be a massive change in philosophy. It would be like a defensive first catcher, and I just don't think the Yankees believe in that. First base, obviously the Matt Olson rumors, other first base rumors, Rizzo. I think, and I'll check with you on this, I think we're on a pretty big first base is gonna change because of how they treated Luke Voit last year.
Yeah, this is where me and like the general fan base replies. Like I'm not on the same wavelength. Like some people were surprised Cashman said shortstop and center field and not shortstop and first base. But like DJ LeMahieu exists.
Right.
It's not a priority because you have 2 fallback options. You have Voit, if you just want to keep him around, cheap, and you have DJ. I mean, who's that shortstop? You literally no one.
Right. And
Who's at center field?
That's where
They're not playing Judge or Gallo out there. They wouldn't even play Gallo last year in center field. They're not playing Judge out there for full season. And Gardy, both options got declined, and you don't want him to be your starter. And Hicks is coming off an injury and blah, 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 blah. So I wasn't surprised, but like Olsen would be a nice trade, but I don't even think that's like, I believe Cash when he said first base isn't a priority. I think you try to trade Voit for sure, but even if you do, then DJ just plays first.
Right. And that's where, Glaber, obviously you have to give him a run at second base for a full year. Shortstop is their number one priority. They're going to get a shortstop. We know that. Third base kind of ties into first base a little bit. We'll talk about that. Gallo and Judge, I think they're locked in. I know there's people that want to bail on Gallo, but he's a Gold Glover. It's one season. They clearly like him. I think they just run that. So that's where the center field conversation really started to make us spin because we know the Yankees like Hicks. At least we assumed so. And he's an option out there, but there's been a lot of injuries. And I think it's where this whole center field conversation has started. Because you're right, Cashman has been pretty honest with the people leading back to the Machado Harper free agency. Like, no, I haven't talked to those guys. Like, we're not in. The fact that he said Hicks second, I guess the only thing for me is I do think the change at first base is happening. I agree. I don't think it's a priority, but I think what they did with Luke last year, and I know DJ's an option there, but I don't think they want to pencil him in as their starting first baseman. That I really think that leads to kind of what we're saying, like the free agency leading into 2009. I think everyone wanted the Yankees to make big changes. I think it's happening, man.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think that would be the third, That'd be like the third thing.
Sure.
That happens. But because they have safety. Like, they just don't have a shortstop has to happen. That's kind of the first domino that, they can't mess that up. So that's why if they sign Verlander before they get a shortstop, we're like, oh, might be spending big.
Yeah.
If they shine the shortstop first, you'd be like, okay, let's see what they do next because that might be their only play.
First
because
base.
They could.
First base is where they have options internally. And if they don't work out, you can fix that midseason probably easier than the other spots.
Same with center field. Yeah. Shortstop is an absolute must. So if they sign a shortstop first, then you might be like, that might be all they do. If they do anything before shortstop, kind of a sign that they're going to do a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I don't
think. Center field.
Yeah. I think that's not a bad way to look at it at all. I just feel the way things went down at first base and the fact that they've kind of have shown interest in Rizzo and they're clearly, I think they are in on Olsen to a degree, I think is a sign of, especially if we start tying it to 2-year window, like Matt Olson has 2 years left on his contract. So if we are doing this 2-year run of being the Yankees and bringing Verlander, bringing one of the big shortstops, we're going to make moves at center field, then you might as well do first base too. I agree with the statement that, the other thing are priority, but that doesn't mean first base comes off the table or isn't part of the mix for me. Which I think does get things really excited. Do you have any thoughts on Joely? He does come back. I know you said at the start that you don't think it's a
zero.
Zero?
Zero.
Do you think he's just going to be an up and down guy this year or what?
Zero thoughts. I mean,
okay.
Nothing.
Interesting. I mean, he's going to be in the bullpen. He's major league contract, right?
Yeah, we thought O'Day and we thought Wilson would be in the bullpen. Wilson got traded halfway through. So, I mean, it's just nothing.
Okay.
Very much a trade.
Not going to be if he's ever in the top 5, things have gone awful, but there's no risk at all.
He can have a regular season role easily. We saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like at no point I don't know. Anything can happen, but no, I mean it's no harm, but it's certainly nothing to clap about.
No,
and I don't think it's intended to be clapped about.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees, they end up saving about $1 million because his buyout got paid by the Texas Rangers. That was $500K, and the Yankees pay him $1 million less, so the Yankees kind of trickily save a little bit of money there. And, yeah, I think he does have options, so he can be up and down, and he gets lefties. The baseball savant numbers are there, so maybe they can tinker with him a little bit. But, again, when we had the original conversations about Joely, if he's coming back, I was hoping he was going to be a sign of a Yankees spending spree. You can't say it.
He's got no options.
So he's going to be in the pen then.
Yeah, or traded or whatever. I don't think. I think $2 million for Joely for them is a shrug.
Okay.
They need to just cut it loose at some point, I don't think.
Yeah, attach him to a trade piece like Wilson at some point. Like I don't know. I just doesn't move the needle for me.
Okay. Well, let's move your needle with some center field talk and some DraftKings. You've been placing any bets, Jim? You've been in Jersey?
Should place a bet on all the cricket I've been watching.
You've been a cricket festival over there.
Australia's putting together a nice little crazy run here. Maybe we'll see.
Like that. Agree with Moylan. That guy's got to catch that ball. You can bet on cricket. You can bet on other sports at DraftKings Sportsbook. How about the NFL football, where DraftKings is the official sports betting partner of the NFL? Bet $1 on either team to score, and you can win $100 in free bets. And by the way, either team will score, so that's $100 in free bets. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, they still have their daily fantasy sports contest. Go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOMBOY. Bet $1 on either team to score and win $100 in free bets if they score. You score with promo code JOMBOY this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or PA only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So, Jim, I mentioned the tea leaves, and I'll kick it to you. But like we said with center field, Brian Cashman, who has been fairly honest, said right after shortstop, which I think all season we talked about would be their top priority with this shortstop class. He says shortstop, and then he follows it immediately with center field. And, there's a couple free agent options that are interesting. There's Brian Reynolds rumors today. And, there's a couple other center fielders around the league that we've referenced on Talkin' Baseball before, whether you're Kiermaier types, Lorenzo Cain. But the fact it's a priority, that was really what triggered my brain, because the Yankees talked about getting more athletic and kind of changing the team dynamic. If you're changing center field and you're getting, if you swap Aaron Hicks out, who I think can still be a good baseball player. When he's been on the field, he's still productive, but he's kind of productive in that same way that a lot of Yankees are. Like, there's going to be some walks, there's going to be some powers, there's going to be highs and lows.
Hicks and Gallo's redundant, and Gallo's better.
Right. So, if you start dreaming of the Starling Martes or whoever it will be, and for me, the other thing that really made it click was Hicks has 4 for 40 remaining on his contract, which that's a contract that can be moved. I'm not saying other teams are jumping for it, but if he can still play a little center field and he can play some corner outfields, and if he can be out there for enough games, that's a contract you can get rid of easily enough, whether with prospects or with a little money coming back, whether that's a 5th starter or something. So
it's part of a bigger trade.
That's what really got me jazzy for this offseason. So I want to see where your head's at, Jimmer, with that.
I think what's tickled me is how much does Hicks have left? Because I know it goes less, but does it add up to 40?
4 for 40.
I think at least by luxury tax hit.
A couple years are 10.5, and then a couple years are 9.5.
Drops down again.
So it's nothing.
Yeah,
crazy.
I think it's closer to like 32. No, not 32. But I think it might be a little less. Whatever. It goes cheaper. It's 10. It's like 10 point something, then 9 point something.
I'm pretty sure it's 10.5, 10.5, 9.5, 9.5. So you call it 10 a year.
Yeah, you definitely call it 40, but it's not bad. I think, and this is very speculative on me. So just like opening with that. So if this gets clipped for socials, make sure you include, this is very speculative of me.
Okay.
I think they want to send Hicks to winter ball. They keep discussing. We're deciding if he wants to play Dominican winter ball or not. And I think if they were to say their full thoughts, it would be, we'd love him to play winter ball if he looked good and people would then trade for him. We don't want him to play winter ball. It doesn't look good, and then people aren't going to trade for him. And I think they're trying to see some showcases or I don't know, see something before they make that decision. But it's making me laugh. Like, why? What's? He hasn't played in a while.
Right.
If you want him to be a New York Yankee, send him to the Dominican and let him get some reps and get game speed. Don't just wait to spring training. Like, it's right there for you. If it's your decision, like they're saying, like we haven't decided. Like if they want him to be a Yankee, you send him. Gary went last year because he didn't get a lot of reps and he was bad. Like, go get him the game speed. Why would you not send him unless he's like Hicks is like, I'm not going. I just got married and all this. But if you're the Yankees, you definitely send him. And you say, yeah, let's see what you got. But if they're trying to move him, I think they're trying to figure out, well, okay, maybe we don't showcase him. Maybe we do. Which is interesting. But I don't know if he'd get moved, man. And if he doesn't, then I really don't know what that means.
Right. I think they're gonna. That's where I really had an eyes wide open moment. Like, that contract isn't ridiculous in the baseball world. You could go back to that Red Sox, the dumps they've done over the past 10 years now, between the David Price dump and Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, that monster trade. And that's where I start circling up, kind of like I did before. I know first base isn't a priority. I do think a move's going to happen there. But they do have backup options. So if it doesn't, it's kind of no skin off the back. I think if I had to guess Cashman's dream board, there's a first baseman, a Rizzo Olsen type. Brandon Belt is a free agent. He's got a big lefty swing. I think Gio Urshela, who played shortstop last year, he can be your bench guy / with DJ in that util role you originally dreamed up of. And then if a right side of the infield guy gets hurt, DJ goes over there, Gio plays third. If a left side of the infield guy gets hurt, Gio's then a starter. He played shortstop for a little bit. You'd have to find a solution, but we're banking on a big-time shortstop, and there's the young guys on the way. So I've kind of brainwashed myself into that. And then the whole team dynamic really does change. If it is Brian Reynolds is an incredible baseball player. I'm not even dreaming there yet. But so is Starling Marte. And like the Starling Marte contract, if we're talking big money for the next couple years, this is Kylie McDaniel, who works for ESPN, and he's just guessing. But he guessed that Starling Marte is going to get a 4-year, $68 million contract, which that's not break the bank money. And that's a different player in center field. So I really think, I had no idea what's going to happen at catcher. I think they're just going to roll Gary. But I think first base, shortstop, and center field are all going to have very new, upgraded looks. And that's without the Verlander talk, Luis Castillo talk that happens every offseason. Like, I think they're doing it.
Yeah, I'm interested. First base, what I think we're forgetting is athleticism, like, has to be part of it. And if you're Gio at third, Glaber at second, Rizzo at first, Rizzo or Voit at first, DJ util, you're not more athletic. You might have gotten worse or stayed the same depending how people's bodies have aged and all that, if they're preaching athleticism and DJ's the util guy, which sucks because that's usually a pretty athletic dude, and we're talking speed, taking the extra base, that type of stuff. Because DJ is athletic. I hate the word we're using. We're really just talking about speed. Speed. So if we need speed, and you go Gio, Voit, Rizzo, and DJ, we didn't do shit. We did not.
So I guess that's where I'm confused. So if you think the Yanks, let's say DJ is playing first, because I have them moving on from Voit, just the way they treated him last year. I have them moving. They kind
of wrote that story themselves,
right? So
it'd be a plot twist now if they just say, yeah, actually Voigt's at first base. That'd be a big plot twist by them.
So you've got Glaber at second. You big shortstop signing, whether Correa, Story, Seager, whoever it comes out to be. So at third base, you still have Gio, or do you think a third base move is happening? Because then then your infield's Gio, shortstop, Glaber, DJ, which hasn't gotten you more athletic / speedy either.
I think Glaber and DJ are the only two that stay.
Okay.
And DJ's either playing first or third. It's not what I think will happen, what I would do. I love Gio.
Right.
He's slow.
Yeah.
he almost natural state is limping now. Voit runs in quicksand. Glaber's around.
Quicksand.
DJ, you signed for 5 years. You signed DJ to 5 years to be a util guy? Aging 30-year-old util guy? I don't think so. I think you signed him to lock him up at second, and you hope Glaber would be shortstop. Now that's not happening. Find him a home. Ask DJ. You're going to play majority of your time on the corner. What do you want? And then go navigate around that. You signed him for 5 years. Let's get the best out of him. You didn't sign him to be a util play. I don't think so. The 2-year deal, cheaper money. I think that was the utility role they had for that. But I mean, this guy's got to last. And no player has ever said, I like moving around the field a ton. They always say, no, I like when I'm consistent and have a spot. So Glaber and DJ stay for me. And then you go and you get some athleticism somewhere. So if it's shortstop and then first baseman, don't bring Rizzo over, bring Olsen. Someone who just like can move.
Right.
Can score from second on a single. Like it changes innings. And we didn't have anyone last year in the starters for a while. So yeah, I think Gio, Voit are all either to the bench. Voit should be traded because they wrote that story already and they should do it. Gio, it's either bench or trade, and he's got value and he's cheap. So I try to move him too. But you can't preach you need to get more athletic and AKA just speed and versatility and run DJ, Glaber, Urshela, Voit. Like you can.
Right. And that's where I have Urshela becoming a bench option. DJ's your starting third baseman, but with his utility. So when Matt Olson gets hurt, he goes to first. When Glaber gets hurt, he goes to second. If the shortstop or DJ got hurt, then you have Gio Urshela, who as a bench option.
Is Olsen even fast?
He's not.
He's a first baseman.
He's young. He was 28th sprint speed. So like,
all right, well, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, that's where center field, like even Correa, dude. I don't think Correa stole bags this year or anything. So,
Very
like,
athletic.
He's athletic.
He'd be the fastest guy in that infield.
That's where
Dude, I know Rizzo actually did take the extra base.
Yeah.
Not fast, but at least he did take extra bases.
That's where center field can change the whole dynamic. I really think it's going to happen. Like shortstop is going to happen. I still have no idea whether it's Seager, Story, Correa. I don't know. I don't know how that ends still. But center field's happening. And maybe it's just my weak spot for center fielders. And I don't know if they love Marte. They said they made a move. They were looking at him at the trade deadline, but you kind of say that about everyone. Or if they make a Brian Reynolds or, I mean, God, Kiermaier would be wild. I don't know. I think it's going to happen, and I think that can really change how the Yankees look compared year over year.
Yeah, it's tough because it's a lot of like yeah. It's interesting for me because you're saying there's a lot of things to move, and I agree. But shortstop, center field, but the infield, I mean, just we got too many slow guys.
Yeah,
is a big problem, and like I like the team and all that, but you gotta get some people that can move. And like I said, Rizzo probably the same speed as Voit, maybe a little faster, but took bases, took chances.
Right?
How many times did we drop our jaw and be like, "What? He went to second there? Whoa, it worked." I mean, in the short sample period, probably 4-5 times.
Picks his spots very well.
60 games.
Yeah. I think it'll be a feel. I know the Yankees still don't. They're never going to fully believe in speed, but like Judge should be athletic when he runs the bases. Joey Gallo is athletic when he runs the bases. If you get an athletic center fielder, then you've got 3 guys. Whoever your shortstop is should be athletic to a degree. So then
in the athletic bucket.
You know, Glaber was actually pretty athletic. We were distracted by everything else.
Or a stretch before he hurt his thumb. He was stealing a lot after the break, and then before he hurt his finger.
And so once that's all in the pot with Glaber, Torres, the second baseman, who we do have belief in, and then you you say DJ LeMahieu was hurt last year. I mean,
but DJ, even at his best, isn't.
Oh, he's not athletic. I'm just saying,
Speed
as a baseball player, what he can provide when he's healthy.
It pains me that the word athletic has just become the word for speed, because DJ LeMahieu is like so fucking athletic.
He's a freak.
He's a top. I hate that we've changed this word, because I think you put DJ in any athletic competition, he competes.
That's
my
change
definition of athletic. It got stolen, man. You know,
we're changing.
There's people that are, yeah. All right,
we're changing it back. And then I don't know. I know we already did Verlander, but I do think Brian Cashman.
If they go Verlander and Correa, I will feel weird about it.
Okay,
I will feel grimy.
A little bit.
It will. I don't fully care. Like blah blah blah. Like never. I don't picture Verlander as an Astro. But if you got Cole, Verlander, Correa, come on, that feels weird. Just like that feels. And I'm not going to let this feeling get in the way of cheering for them, and if they help the Yankees win, enjoying it and all that. But like, they ever do a fucking promo like with those three guys on it, it's a bit odd,
right?
Just buying the Astros team that beat you.
It's a little bit of that A-Rod effect of when that originally happened. When I was sitting there late night, indulging a little bit, I was like, man, I think Brian Cashman is licking his chops at Cole, Verlander, Sevy playoff series. We're not sure what Verlander's going to be, but, I think the Yankees have every opportunity to do it, and it's not unrealistic. I think that's the thing that has me hyped right now. Like, we laugh sometimes in the office at some people's Twitter predictions, like, let's get this guy. Acuna would be a great Yankee. Like, all the things we're talking about are very much in the realm. Like,
any one of these things is very, very, very on the table.
Even the whole group, the
whole thing together is an option.
I don't know. It's got to happen, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
I don't love that. I don't love the idea of Correa, but I do love the idea of his abilities being added to the team. That is weird.
Well, I think we're gonna find out. Like, Cashman is saying all the quotes about Peraza, how he's MLB ready, defensively. We know, one of those shortstops is getting moved this offseason. If I had to guess, it's Peraza. I think they're in with the kid from Jersey, and
I don't know.
They could not be either.
They have time to make a decision.
It feels like
I would think they don't.
Neither of them, I think, are expected to play
young.
Next year. They're not.
They're not expected to break the majors next year.
Peraza's expected to play next year.
Peraza has to get on the 40-man, so he could debut, but he's not supposed to be part of the team. That's not like his MLB.com ETA. I think everything's 2023, but I would bet he debuts because he has to be on the 40-man and seasons happen. Floral stuff.
I don't know. I think one of them's gone.
Yeah, I was thinking the opposite.
Okay. That's the excitement of the offseason, baby.
I think they genuinely like those two guys.
I think so too.
They can slide down the position scale if they both work somehow. How likely is the two top prospects both pan out with the team? But
give yourself
not likely, but
if it happened, they believe
Volpe
in Volpe can go to third.
Volpe hasn't even played at Double-A yet.
I guess
he's a level behind.
That's my thought process, is that Peraza, who I do think is MLB ready next year, if the Yankees sign, one of the big shortstops, Peraza's value is being a shortstop. Defensively, he can already play shortstop. He has speed. That if you just signed Correa, you just blocked where he's most valuable. So use that guy to go get Brian Reynolds or a Luis Castillo type or someone like that.
You don't think that he still likes prospects to get a full year at AAA?
I don't know. I mean, the past couple years have been weird. You know, it's hard to put a full measurement on that, but I mean, the dude kind of flew up the org, and I also think we have Yankees blinders on. Like, if Peraza gets traded to the Pirates, he could be their opening day shortstop.
Yeah.
So that's, I think.
I mean, Peraza doesn't have 400 plate appearances above A ball.
Okay.
Like he's, I don't know. That's quick. I feel like they usually
certainly with the
more time
Yankees, I don't see him
the
any way for
the
him
Yankees
to be
usually give
the
it more
shortstop
time.
at any point. But I get what you're
I'd
saying.
say 2020, 2024, like opening day earliest for me.
For Peraza?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't
Certainly with
played
the
a lot.
Yankees.
Yeah, I guess you're very much in a Yankee scope right now. If Peraza got traded to the Reds this offseason, they would be talking about him playing shortstop this year.
Yeah, but he's in the Yankee system.
Right, but he's MLB ready for 2022, and if they traded him, then you're
I don't think
MLB
the
ready.
Yankees want to. Yeah, but I
That's the whole
also don't think they.
discussion.
I think they want him to be a Yankee. Yeah, I do. I also don't think. Yeah, it's funny. Cashman, he's very honest about like what he wants to do, but he talks about his players sometimes. Obviously, he's got to hype them up, you know.
Right.
He has to play the game.
But those two guys, I think, you know, defensively ready shortstop. Give him. You're not going to rush his bat. Is my understanding of it, or how I feel like the Yankees have handled those guys in the past. If you trade them and you let someone else rush his bat, it'd be a haul. So I don't know. Like, who's out there? Like Brian Reynolds for Peraza? Like, is they really going to do that?
I mean, that's always the question when we do trade rumors. I mean, the other team has to like them. I just know Peraza has flown up like the top prospect charts this year, like people believe. So he's got some juice that he gained this year, so his value is up. You know, Fangraphs has him as a top 50 prospect. So I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. And, you know, some of the at-bat stuff you mentioned, like those are going to be skewed for any prospects the next couple of years because 2020 didn't happen for him. But, you know, he climbed high A to double A and even got a little triple A run. You know, people like those guys that are fast risers. We'll see. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, we should do like a actual we want to do like deep dives into like the trade targets and like comp trades and stuff like that. But I'm just excited that they might spend.
Yeah. I think
Hasn't,
so.
and I think my test is if they do a move, like a big move before a shortstop, then we should all expect a lot of moves. Because shortstop, 100%, has to happen. They cannot start next season if they don't sign or trade for a shortstop of high caliber.
Yep.
Pitching, they could roll the dice. Center field, they could roll the dice. You wouldn't like it, but they could. First base, they could roll the dice. Again, we're not going to love it, but they could. Catcher, we think they're going to roll the dice. If shortstop, 100% has to happen. So if shortstop's the first move, then you kind of stiffen up and you go, oh, I hope there's more.
Right.
Stuff happens before shortstop, I might start licking my lips and be like, all right, let's bring it.
That's logic. That's logic, people. All right, Poppy.
Do you think Monty's expendable if they sign Verlander? So they get Verlander for 2 years, and then do you think Monty as a trade piece would then happen because they only have Monty for the next 2 years? Or not at all, because if you sign Verlander, then you're fucking eyeing that window and stop selling people in that window.
So my Monty thought process jumps to, if you were to do a Luis Castillo trade, then you're basically trading 2 years for one of Luis Castillo, and that's kind of your Death Star move. You're doing like we're talking about a rotation of Cole, Verlander, Sevy, Luis Castillo at the top. I mean, that's my Death Star move. Because I think even with this Justin Verlander conversation, we've known that they were going to go out and replace Kluber in some fashion. All eyes are pointing to Verlander right now. Like, I think that would be a potential Death Star move. But I don't know. 2 years of Monty, like that does speak to other teams. So in my head, that's not off the table.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. All right. I guess we can deep dive more on a lot of this later on the trades and stuff like that. There was one other thing I was going to ask before we went, but no, I forget it.
Okay.
Oh, any other starting pitchers? I guess we can do a whole episode in the future on starting pitchers. Like, I was going through the list of who everyone was talking about. I really wasn't over the moon of any of them.
Yeah, I guess where my head jumped on that for a little bit, and I did a little bit of research, was if there's a Hicks trade dump of sorts, the money you could get back would be from a starting pitcher. I don't know if that's a Kyle Hendricks. I don't know who that would be, but
yeah, I like the less risky options more than like the risk. Like Ray, I wouldn't do it at all.
Right.
You get pay so much for so much like risk. Like what? Then there's some options that if you can get them for cheap, and it's kind of weird because it's like an odd thing. But if you like tell me like they got Kikuchi or I just had it in my head another one who was it? Like I'm not excited about Kikuchi, but I'm like, all right, cool.
Sure.
Let's see. John Gray would be
Yeah.
a good one. Like options like that on 2-year deals would actually like, okay, if we're doing a 2-year thing, like those two guys, like we have a lot of pitchers. Let's go get 8 of them. Let's roll the dice. Get some long men in the pen. Play the game.
Can I tell you guys my snobbiest Yankees fan thought in the last 48 hours?
Yeah.
My snobbiest Yankee fan thought in the last 24 hours was I was like, Cole Verlander and Sevy, those guys are so similar. I was like, shut up, Jake. If you have them, you're going to believe in them to strike out whoever, throw good fastballs, and throw good snappers. Don't be a fucking knob.
Do you want to hear my like radio talking head take that I had about Verlander?
Need it.
Like old man.
Yes.
Like, you know what? At least Verlander and Cole teach these kids how to go the distance.
Yes. Yes.
At least we get like the fucking like baby bitch starting pitcher mindset going top down, like to like like just like pouting and bitching and I don't go 8 innings or I suck like mentality, just top down. If you get the 2 of those at the top of it, like there's a bit of, we talked about how Matt Blake's a great analytics coach, but Cole and these guys could probably use like someone wrote like a Coney for like a mindset coach for like a aggressor, like a pitching philosophy. And like if you got those 2 dudes top down, like probably good for the younger guys.
I like that. Just tell the younger guys throw 98 and have an unhittable fastball and work off of it.
Don't like write that in stone. Like it's I'd walk that back faster than I'd stamp it, but it was a thought I had.
It's exciting stuff, man. I know we'll see where we're at December 1st, December 3rd, because that's qualifying offers and CBA stuff. Non-tender deadline. That's all like 24 hours of within each other. You're right, Jim. I guess the pressure is kind of on for these next, 3 weeks leading up to that. Will there be Verlander? Will there be Olsen? I don't know.
Nothing's going to happen before the CBA.
You don't think so?
Silly moves, teams that are trading, like, teams that are dumping, like the Reds traded Tucker Barnhart. They don't care.
Right. That's where I think Oakland, they might get some of their business done to get Olsen or Chapman off the books before the CBA.
Okay. Yeah. So trades may happen beforehand, but I think signings
If you're a team,
I don't think they have to wait. How could you sign a guy when you have no idea what the luxury tax rules are going to be moving forward?
Yeah.
What if the luxury tax changes to it resets every 5 years? Like, okay,
Yeah.
we're in a fucking different world now. Like, what if the luxury tax is it's going to change every 2 years? Like, you can't sign someone before the CBA is finished if it gets finished.
if you're a team, how can you commit any sort of long-term dollars without knowing what the rules are going to be, what the ramifications of that are going to be? You know, we don't usually give teams the benefit of the doubt on these things, but in this case, they should know what the budget is.
Players,
Yeah, I mean,
players got so bad on the luxury tax.
they got on everything in the last CBA.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's like public opinion. It's not. I think they even know it.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
The fact that it's been labor pod for a second. The fact, and we'll do this on Talking Baseball. The fact that it's been silent, I think, is a good sign.
Yeah, that's kind of the consensus right now too. That's everyone we've talked to has been like, yeah, the fact it's quiet is probably good news. There was that one Heyman tweet, and almost everyone laughed. They're like, no, dude, we're good over here. You kind of have no info.
Yeah, there's been like a couple headlines like that one. That's like, and yeah, obviously, one of the sides planted this and whatever. But
Heyman.
usual stuff.
I like going to the Yankees subreddit, obviously, because they share like good the meaningful or whatever gets up with crowdsourced. I have Heyman muted because his tweets are nothing.
Right.
And then like sometimes I go to Reddit and then they're up there and I'm like, God, like I wish I could mute him everywhere. Like, so I saw one that was like teams interested. I don't know. He did something where he listed 10 teams again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Here's nothing. Enjoy this. What's Jim? It's Talking Yanks. This is kind of where it all started. What can we get a James Douglas update for the people?
James Douglas is doing well. Had a nice session with him this morning. Big ol' yawn. Did you see that?
I did see that. He grew 2 sizes overnight. Is he just a yawn festival?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a yawn festival. He's good, man. The dogs are super intrigued. Like, look at this picture of Mac just like hunting him in the background. Dogs are Maisie thinks he's his mom. Mac is interested. But yeah, so far we're very lucky. It's a sleep festival. We messed up one day because we just let him sleep all day. Because we're like, this kid just sleeps. And then watching a lot of Seinfeld. And then he didn't sleep at night. So then we were up till 2 a.m. and he was just wide awake, staring at us like. And I was getting freaked out. I was like, dude, stop looking at me. So we realized, okay, let's keep him awake.
Yeah.
From like noon to 9 p.m. as much as we can. So we did that last night. Slept from 11:30 to 4:30. Woke up, fed him, went back to sleep at 5. Woke up at 8. Like my sister's very jealous.
Bang biscuit.
He doesn't like being naked. Hates it.
You mentioned Maisel has taken on a motherly role. If Mac decides to be the father, is there just a handoff there? Like you guys
Mac's like a 1950s father.
Right.
Like the first 4 days, he was pissed. He was moody.
Yeah.
And if like he wasn't part of the whatever session, he just like sat in the corner pouting. He was like really being a little bitch about it. Damn. And acknowledged the baby. And now like slowly, sternly, he's like coming up and he'll walk past the baby and just like kind of like stop, look, give like a nod of approval, like you exist, and then keep going. And we've gotten some like kisses now, but slowly, it's like, begrudgingly, like I'm not going to let my guard down. I'm the man of this house. And you're just a little boy. He's kind of the
stereotypic dad that gets a puppy and is like, I'm not going to take care of this puppy. And love this puppy.
Yes. He's probably changing his diaper every time we're not in the room.
Right.
Yeah. But yes, is very like, They're both sweet. That we got Wheatons because Wheatons are really good with little kids. Maisie's nuts though. Like anytime he cries, Maisie has to be by his side, and no one else can be around.
Right.
Strangers.
Maisie's kind of taking the baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Mac, moped. I had to like give him some special. Like I told Katie, like, hey, like go spend some time with Mac. He's fucking mopey. So we've like been doing like, did you give Mac some love today?
Needy.
Yeah, super needy. But they're good.
Good.
Katie's doing well. We lost my father-in-law, so we're down a body taken care of. I don't know when my mother-in-law leaves, but then it'll be just the two of us. That's kind of the true test, I guess. But he's been good. Dude, we have this thing that's like Rorschach test, like just black and white images that are supposed to stimulate him. Hilarious. Babies are so easy to entertain. I just hold up this piece of paper that's got like a black and white yin yang sign, and he's just like, for a while. I'm like, dude, your sense of entertainment sucks. I get bored after a single second.
You're not into the baby Rorschach.
No, but on the other side are complex designs. He's not there yet. And those are kind of cool, man. They're like, like Starry Night in black and white.
I'd like to get myself into the baby Rorschach market. So like in 10 years, I've kind of brainwashed a bunch of babies into liking my face.
Rorschach your face?
Rorschach my face.
What do you see? I see a creep.
Come on.
That'd be terrible if that's what every kid said.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
That would be bad for me.
Yeah.
All right, Big Papa.
Someone in the chat asked if we read the chat.
And?
No.
Well, this is pre-recorded.
This is, Wish we
Does
could
the
do
chat
it live.
think this is live? Yeah.
It would be cool if we could. Oh, my God.
Yeah, technology will catch up soon. Australia won, by the way. Awesome comeback. So Australia versus New Zealand in the finals of the T20
Aussie.
World Cup.
Team Aussie.
It's going to be great.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Jimbo.
When's next Talking Yanks? Next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday. We'll see what we get news-wise.
I guess
We should do a deep dive. Well, I don't know if I'm going to round. I don't know if I can do. Next week's my final week of full off, and then I go part-time. So I don't know if I'm going to be here. But we should start doing some deep dives into positions and
we'll talk
and comps and
to
values and all
maybe
that
we
stuff.
can do we can
Katie.
pre-record a couple things for the next week or something. Maybe we'll have a couple guests. All right, Big Daddy.
Goodbye, everyone. Go Yanks. Tell them, Grams.
Go Yankees.
Someone said it's not live.
Morgan White is